We're back.
The intro music is always very relaxing.
I do like that music.
It feels like a not Kenny Loggins or like who's the other guy? It feels like Genesis.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Kenny
Yeah.
Loggins. It's a good era, dude.
Noggins. Loggins. What up? Welcome back to Talks from the Shelf. This is episode 12, by the way.
Wow.
I thought we had done more, honestly. But I
Yeah,
guess after 3 months of taking a break, it feels
They'll
like
do it.
that. So yeah, we wound up taking the summer off. Didn't really plan on having that be the case, but it just kind of worked out that way. Old Restless is here, my boy. Thank you so much for being here, my good sir.
What's up, Old Restless?
We missed you. They're back. I
Back.
wish I liked found footage. Just wanted to say hi. Hope you come back soon. Well, we hope you join us for the show. You might enjoy, you might appreciate some of my takes on this genre, honestly. With that being said, but no worries if you don't need to hear us talk about that. Then no worries. Just happy to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for popping in. And we're back. We're not gonna take another 3 months off. We're back here again.
Yeah, definitely a show a month. If we can swing it, I'd love to do 2 a month, but we'll see. Tyler and I are busy. We both have things going on, but work has slowed down significantly for me. I was just talking about that with Tyler before the show started. So things on the channel should be ramping up, with fall coming. We have a lot of cool things to look forward to. Some fun horror movies, some cool horror video games. I want to kind of cover it all. So, but go ahead.
I was gonna say there's some stacked movies. There's like a lot of movies coming out in the next few months that I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah, it seems like we hit a lull there. Like after Weapons came out, there really wasn't much out at all that I've been interested in. Caught Stealing was very good, surprisingly. I really enjoyed Caught Stealing. But it's just been like a lull after all the summer blockbusters came out, and now we're kind of transitioning into like spooky season horror films, and then awards season stuff is going to start coming out. All the big like prestige films. So what movies are you excited about though?
Dude, both the Safdies got movies coming out.
Dude, Smashing Machine and Marty Supreme.
Dude, very excited about both of those. Smashing Machine is like a movie made for me, honestly. Like I love MMA.
Yeah, dude. We were just talking about that before too.
Or Benny Safdie, rather. Yeah. Very, very interested in seeing The Rock do like a serious role that seems like it's gonna be good. I don't know. I'm very excited about it.
Dude, yeah, it's interesting. Like the disc, like I try not to be on film Twitter anymore. It's really toxic and awful. But I'm also in like a Discord that talks about films a lot, and like people seem split on like whether they are rooting for The Rock here, like if they want him.
Oh, interesting.
Like if they're okay with him, like I want to be a real actor now, and people are like, nah, like we don't accept you, like you're still the Jumanji guy, like we don't fuck with like. And then there's people who like what are down with The Rock and like want to see him kind of make that transition successfully.
Yeah. Dude, I want to go see a kick-ass movie. Like that's what I want. I don't be like, damn, like I'm glad that was trash.
Yeah, I really don't care that much. Like as long as the movie's good, then like if it's an Oscar-worthy performance, then it is. Like I don't really, like I'm not gonna let my feelings about The Rock get in the way. Yeah, they gave him like a. Did you see The Rock start crying? He finally did his performance. He did like they got like a 15-minute standing ovation at the premiere of the film, which is not uncommon at those film festivals. Dude, it is very awkward long time.
That's like a good percentage of the movie.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like minimum 10 minutes. Like if you get a 10-minute ovation, you should. That's like offensive. Like that's not like your movie sucked.
Dude, that's crazy.
Dude, imagine if Timothy Chalamet and The Rock like switched for those roles. So
Dude,
like The Rock is playing the ping pong player, and Timothy Chalamet is playing
he just gets yoked.
this fucking no, he stays exactly the same as he is right now.
And they're just like, yeah, we thought that like it would be an interesting creative decision if like he was actually just not physically like the guy at all.
That'd be so fucking funny. Hall & Oates is in the house. What's up? Looking
What up,
forward to
Hall?
Smashing Machine. Yeah, I'm very curious about it. For sure. I think it's cool that both the Safdies have a film coming out at the same time.
It looks very like raw looking, like I like to love that. It looks like
yeah,
it could be like an older Sean Baker film, like shot like that.
it looks like they're doing a bit of the handheld sort of thing,
Sign me up.
which is a nice little segue into tonight's
Ooh,
show.
nice.
Yeah, dude, this is the found footage show. So typically the way we would have done this in the past is Tyler and I would do like a top 5 of this genre and just kind of run down the top 5. But we wanted to do things a little differently because we felt as though that was kind of limiting. It didn't really leave much room for conversation for other topics related to those topics. So we decided to instead, we were both going to like separately do our own research, watch some films that we hadn't seen before. We'll be able to bring our insights about the films that we've already seen before, and just kind of discuss the genre. Talk about movies that we like, that we don't like, and just everything in between. And so I don't know what movies Tyler has watched as like preparation for this, with the exception of one. But he doesn't know what I have watched in preparation for this, so it should make it for a little bit more dynamic conversation, a little more fun. Hopefully you guys in the chat will chime in as well. Would love to hear from you guys too. So yeah. So do you have to go ahead and say what you're about to say?
No, I got no preamble. I was gonna say, do you want to start? Do you want me to start? What do you feel?
Well, so first I was going to ask you, just as like to kind of set the table, like, prior to us deciding to do this episode, what has been sort of your relationship with this genre? Did you really pay it much attention? Was it something that really ever stood out to you? Like what was your kind of thoughts about it before we get into it?
Interesting. I remember the first time I remember watching a found footage film was Blair Witch Project, and we were like, were you there for that?
I had to have been, yeah, because I feel like I remember that pretty well.
Yeah, and we were like 15 or 16, and that movie was like, I had never seen anything like that. The movie was insane. I was locked in. I remembered it. I just rewatched it like 2 hours ago for the first time since then, and it was crazy how vividly I remembered the movie, despite not having seen it in such a long time. So it made like a profound impact. I feel like I never really thought of found footage as like a thing that much, but it's kind of interesting because we grew up in the time with like where reality TV was starting to like become more of a thing and like figure out what it was. And so like I'd watch a lot of like Jackass and Viva La Bam and stuff like that, where it was always like handheld. Like it was just like we're filming something as it's happening and it's kind of has real element to it. And then I also think of what was that show on Nick back in the day, where like back in the day, and they would like, it was spooky and they'd like drop kids off, not kids but teenagers, and they had cameras and they'd have to like go and like find each other or find clues. Is that ringing bells at all? It was fucked.
Vaguely.
I feel like it was a little bit too old for us, because I remember watching it and being like too young and being like, this is insane, and not really watching it. But
I can't remember what the name of that show is.
Yeah, but that's like my thinking about just like my relationship to found footage as a format. I think of like handheld, obviously horror adjacent, but also just like I love stuff that looks sort of hand filmed. Like I was saying like old Sean Baker films, like just like Florida Project, Just films that look very like raw. I really, really like that. So this is just something that I'm attracted to, but then also when it isn't done right, it sticks out to me. Or when it's done in a way where I was like, I don't know if they needed to do it like this, it sticks out to me. So we'll get into that. But
Yeah, we're definitely going to
yeah.
talk about when it's done well and when it's done not well. Old Restless says, think that show was on TV or MTV, excuse me.
Fear.
Was it Fear?
Maybe.
Maybe Google that and see if you can see like a logo. I feel like if I saw a logo, it would jog my memory. But so while you're doing that, yeah, dude, like it's interesting. You and I, born in like not early 90s, so we wouldn't have been really able to appreciate Blair Witch at the time. But like we really grew up in the era where you know, things like that were pretty more widespread, like you were saying with the reality TV.
I think this is Old Restless. I think this is it.
That's sick.
I remember being like spooky, and like it seems like something that'd be too spooky to have been on like Nick at Night in like 2001.
Right.
Clutch. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Oh no, you're good. No, like it was interesting because like we kind of grew up alongside like the rise of the internet, so that was a thing that was definitely like rising to prominence as we were growing up. I think about Paranormal Activity in when was that? 2007.
Jesus.
Oh,
you got it right there.
2009. Yeah, I got the 6-movie collection here. So yeah, I mean, I think the idea of it being like this is real is or was more believable back then, because even though we had internet, social media was not what it is now. And so the idea of being able to pass something off as being real, even in 2009, was, you know, and not that anyone really thought Paranormal Activity was real, but, you know, that's not to say that there aren't people who did, or, you know, it affected them in that way to where they were able to be so invested in it that it might as well have been, and really made them, you know, it affected them heavily in that way. You know, Paranormal Activity was a phenomenon when that came out.
Yeah, just like just seeing something that was filmed by another like civilian was so much more novel up until like the proliferation of the iPhone and like social media.
Yeah, it's just an interesting concept too, because like the idea of, you know, 99% of all films are filmed in the conventional theatrical way, and then you have this subgenre, which is like taking everything that you expect as far as a film goes and like completely turning it on its head, and trying to pass something off, maybe, you know, maybe not as real, but it's difficult, right?
Kinda.
Because like no one's going into a movie like Cloverfield and, you know, expect, you know that that's not a real thing. I think the only movie that ever really had people going in that sense that this was a real thing is Blair Witch, and also Cannibal Holocaust from the 1980 something. Are you familiar with Cannibal Holocaust at all? I know you probably have not seen it, but you might know about it.
Yeah, I found it when I was looking for research for like movies to watch. Looked up a bunch of like screenshots, read the synopsis and stuff because I was like, I'm pretty good on this. But
yeah,
did some research on it.
It's important to mention in the history of this genre because it was a movie that people thought was real because the effects were so well done. And the actors were not really actors. You know, they were, you know, I don't know the exact situation with them, but they were not people that would have been recognizable to the general public.
Okay.
And so the director was actually like brought into court and had to like produce the actors so that he wasn't going to be
Dude,
like convicted of manslaughter of like manslaughter.
he was like, nah, like
He
this is
had
just
to
the
bring
guy.
them in into a courtroom and be like, "Hey, here they are. They're not
Dude,
dead. We just made
that's
a movie."
cool. That's crazy.
And that was in the 80s, right? So like people, you were more liable to believe something like that was real, especially with like the advent of like the VHS tape being more popular. Like with that came this whole slew of like there was snuff films and like Faces of Death was a thing where it was like it was later confirmed to like not be real, but like Faces of Death was like this thing. Old Restless and them, they might know more about it. I've never actually seen them, but they were like passed around as like this thing that was like, yo, this is real. And it was like it wasn't even like a film. It was just like an assembly of like weird shit, like all kind of with that analog, like lo-fi, almost like surveillance footage or whatever the case may be. And like it was like people dying and like people like committing crimes and shit. And it was
Dude,
like obviously we know now that it wasn't real, but because of the way that it was filmed, it just looks real. And back then,
that's kind of what it took to convince you.
yeah, and you can't
Yeah.
look it up. You don't have any like really way of confirming it or not. What's up, Jerry? How you doing, brother?
You're
Do yourself a favor and never see Cannibal Holocaust.
dude, can do. Dude, you know what else? Never mind.
No, go ahead.
It is irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a gross fucking movie. They actually kill a turtle for real in the movie.
Wow.
And they like show it.
That's not
Yeah,
cool, man.
I'm good on all of that. Just fucked up, honestly. But yeah, it's worth mentioning. So, I'm not going to do like a whole history lesson on the genre, but like basically, it's just for each decade that it was a thing. Starting with roughly with Cannibal Holocaust. There may have been other examples. Super believable then. Very, very much more believable in the 90s with the advent of like the early internet. And like that was essentially the Wild West, similar to the VHS era. Like just new technology that people are just getting their hands on. And like it was very like widely available to the individual. So like with that comes the sense of like discovery and like people can contribute to this in weird ways, like which gave you that sense that like maybe this wasn't produced by like a studio, like maybe someone just really went out and filmed this,
right?
And so that was the way that you could kind of convince people. Like it just felt different than anything else that people had seen, especially Blair Witch. And then you have things like Paranormal Activity. I would say this was probably the last point in time where you really, no one really, like I said, no one really believed this was real, but like it was more impactful at this time. There wasn't like people say Blair Witch made found footage like super popular. It really didn't. Like the movie itself was super huge, and like there may have been some films produced in the wake of it, but like it really didn't blow up until Paranormal Activity, like 10 years later. Like that's when you really started to see a slew of imitators.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just interesting to think about the different ways that this genre has sort of affected the audiences, during all the different times when it was really big. Got to get that tea. So, do you want to start talking about the movies that we watched for this?
Yeah.
All right. Take it away, man. Let me know what you watched.
All right, so I'm gonna start with get one that I did not enjoy terribly out of the way, and that it'll also kind of help us kind of compare like what is good, like how to do this well, what not to do in a found footage. So my first movie is Cloverfield.
Oh shit!
I had never seen Cloverfield.
Really?
I'd never seen Cloverfield.
Damn.
And then in preparation for this, I was like I was very excited to watch it because I had always wanted to see it. It seemed very interesting. And now I was like, oh, cool. Like it takes place in New York. I have all that context now that I wouldn't have had before. That'll be
Mm-hmm.
cool. Whatever. And uh I was just constantly like, it felt like the movie was trying to annoy me the whole time. Um, like, let me just quickly go through the list. So like, it sets it up, and like, I can buy into the intro, right? It's like they're filming somebody's party. He's leaving, so they're filming a tape for him. That's important, right? Like with these movies, like you need to buy into why they're filming in the first place right off the bat. And so I was like, all right, that's fine. But then like as things start like I feel like they kind of like sped into like the problem, and I don't know what it was, but I didn't like care about any of the characters by the time like the monsters.
They're all pretty unlikable.
Yeah, so like yeah, didn't really care about that. Was also confused at the beginning where because they do that like uh the video that you're seeing as the film as the audience member is like kind of like a scramble of like this old footage that's on the camera and then the new footage of like the monster timeline, we'll call it, that was like recorded over the old footage. And like that was just kind of confusing because it's not clear that there's like that big of a time jump at the beginning. So it's like what's his name and this girl and they're on a date, and then it jumps forward and then they see each other and things are weird, and you're like, that's his girlfriend. Like, why are things mad weird? And then you have to piece, like, I had to, maybe I'm fucking stupid, possible, but like, it took me a minute to be like, what was going on? And it was confusing. And then also, I hate to just jump in the first movie and talk shit, but like that's not how cameras work. And they established later in the movie that like that the camera runs on an SD card, and so they can't make up in their minds in the movie if they're recording to an SD or if it's a tape. And so like
Never
if it's
thought about this.
dude, if it's an SD card, like you're not like they try to be like, oh, like just parts of the film got filmed over, but some of it's there still, and it kind of gets scrambled together. And that's just not how SD cards, like that's not how it works. So like that was, took me out of it a little bit. As far as it being a horror film, the one thing, what are you gonna say?
I don't know that I would consider it a horror film. It's certainly a horror adjacent.
Sure, true.
It's more of like a monster movie.
Like a monster thriller.
It's like Godzilla, but found footage is more or less, but it has those horror components, like for sure.
Yeah, maybe horror is not word, but like it kept like trying to like set up tension, and then every time it did that, and I started to be like, oh shit, like what's going on? Either HUD, the camera guy, would make some quip, and he's not.
He's so annoying. Do you know who that is? It's the fucking guy from like the Deadpool movies. TJ Miller.
Yes.
He's annoying as hell.
Yeah, so he makes some kind of joke immediately, or even worse, they just cut. Like right as something spooky is going on, it's about to finish, and then they just cut to like a couple minutes later. And it was like it felt like they were abusing the format of like, oh, this is a found footage thing, so we can just we can cut wherever. We don't have to like be like conscious of when we're doing that. And it really like just constantly took the steam out of what was happening. Which is just like interesting. And then something else they did is there's a couple of scenes where there's music, there's a score.
Just like non-diegetic music playing,
straight up score.
It's the number one. So we're gonna get into this.
Yeah,
it is the number one offense. It always sticks out to me, dude. I always notice it, especially with like jump scare sounds and just sounds that like shouldn't be there, because like why are they there?
It's not, yeah.
Like, and I think your mileage is going to vary as far as like whether that bothers you or not. For me, I have very high standards for this genre. we're gonna get into it.
True. Yeah.
Real quick, my boy Davey Deathray is in the house. If for some reason anyone who subbed to me is not subbed to Davey, please go fix that. I'm sure you guys are, although Davey's the man. Thanks for being here, bro. We're just talking about Cloverfield right now. So yeah, please continue with your thoughts on the film.
Yeah, that's like more or less it. I'm not gonna all the other movies. I don't have like a bunch of shit to talk, but like this one, I just wanted to get that out of the way of like.
I'm here for the shit talk, dude,
All
because
right.
some of these movies deserve to get shit talked.
Yeah, I was. I really went into this like I was very excited. I was like, I was like, all right, I'm finally watching Cloverfield. And like 15 minutes into it, I was like, "Ugh." and and it's just like there's also um, it was kind of it felt kind of clean even for what it is. Like it wasn't chaotic enough for New York.
Mm.
It like you would think like there's millions of people here, and like if there was a monster, because like there's like the scene early on where they go into the street and there's like 40 people around, and dude, like like I
No,
could walk
it
out
was
right now and see
2008,
more.
man. It's
Dude,
2008.
I could walk out right now and see more people than like are running around when a monster hits the city at the beginning of the film.
Old Restless wants you to talk some shit.
Yeah, so yeah, oh, there is a really cool shot. See, and this they could have done more of, and we will talk about this. They didn't do a lot of like real world building. They were really focused on like the monster. There's the CGI little monsters. They spend a lot of time in the tunnel, which like is a cool concept of like, oh, being in the subway tunnels. But like I feel like they're just down there for too long. But there's a really cool shot once they come up of like a horse, like a horse and buggy that like walks by real slow in like an empty street, and it's just the horses and there's nobody in the carriage. And like that was super bugging. And they could have done a lot of that of like, yo, look how empty, like seeing New York empty and hearing this crazy shit going on in the background, like that's scary. And that's like a simple thing where you can start to you fill stuff in with your own brain, which some of these other movies do well. And Cloverfield was like it almost seems like they wanted to make just a standard movie and then shoehorned in the found footage thing for some reason. At the end, you get like a full clean shot of the monster, which like
It's the money shot.
don't need it.
They keep it well. I'll push back a little there because they
Okay,
do keep the monster mostly hidden
that's
throughout the
true.
runtime.
Hmm.
So similar to most monster movies, you do get that one shot right at the end, and I think most people are expecting that and they want to see it, and it leaves you wanting to see a little more because the whole movie you're like wanting to get a good look at this thing.
Yeah.
And then you finally get it right at the end. So I'm actually okay with that. Real quick, Miss Bunny Girl 69 is in the chat. There is a found footage movie about bad weather called Into the Storm, which I feel like I've heard about this movie. I think it's like a tornado thing, like really crazy, like tornadoes and stuff. And then halfway
Okay.
through, it changes to a regular movie. Interesting.
That's crazy.
And then old Davy and Miss Bunny Girl talking a little bit. So yeah, dude, with Cloverfield, do you have anything else to add real quick before I give my 2 cents on this movie?
No, I many times I wrote they keep fucking cutting after scares. I put that multiple times. That must have like really been annoying me. But oh, and then there was a really cool scene where Marlena,
Yeah,
I have, oh no, Marlena, she's definitely dead, question mark, and then oh fuck, she just exploded. So like
dude, yeah, she
that
fucking
scene was hard.
blows up, dude.
That scene was pretty sick.
Yeah,
But
dude, and that's the
yeah.
other thing. Like, she is a recognizable actress. I think even at this
Mm,
time, like I knew who that was.
mm,
But anyway,
interesting.
or maybe rather like looking back at it now, like I know who that is. It's hard to say. But anyway,
Okay.
I saw the trailer for this movie, I think in theaters. I don't
Mm.
remember what it was attached to, but so I have a very different perspective on this movie than you do.
Ooh, please.
So when this movie came out in like the trailer, there was no title attached to it. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but basically all it is it's a lot of the party stuff in the beginning. It's them going out onto the roof when shit starts going sideways,
Hmm.
and then it ends with the shot of the Statue of Liberty's head getting thrown
Mm,
down the
hmm.
street. And there was no title, all it was a date.
That's cool.
And I was a part of like the part of the internet who was like fascinated with this movie and like
Mm.
wanted to know like what it was. Like people were speculating, like, what is it?
Yeah.
Is it like a monster? Is it an alien? Like nobody knew. The marketing was genius for this film. People were very eagerly anticipating it, and it was just it captured a part of the zeitgeist that I happen to also be a part of in a way that like nothing really else had ever done it until that point.
This is like ringing a bell, and I completely forgot about that whole like lead up to it.
Yeah, I mean, and so it was sick as fuck, and like all that stuff was arguably more interesting than the movie. Yeah, so there's been 2 sequels to Cloverfield, and neither of which are like found footage style.
Cloverfield
So
Paradox.
yeah, and 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was another script that they made some changes to make into a Cloverfield movie. Which, you know, it's actually a pretty solid movie. Doesn't really have a ton to do with like Cloverfield as you know it. Yeah, Cloverfield Lane is dope. Dude, so there is a shot early on when it's the guy and the girl, and it's like the old footage of them on their date or whatever. And it's a shot of it's a shot of like a satellite falling into the ocean. And you can like they don't call any attention to it. It's very easy to miss.
I am intrigued.
Cloverfield satellite falling. Oh yeah, here we go. So I'm just gonna send you this real quick. It's 30 seconds. But so what's cool about it is the movie has shit like this in it. Where it's like hidden.
Interesting.
Hidden stuff. And it's all kind of set up, you know, in the film itself. And it's just cool. It's just very cool that that you can see. It's such a minor detail that, you know, no one ever really calls any attention to.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
So the company that the guy was going to go work for is called Slusho, I'm pretty sure. It was like a company in Japan, and that's one of their satellites like falling out of the sky into the ocean, and that wakes up the monster. So, you know, it's pretty minor. It's not really a huge deal, but it's like little shit like that to me at the time was so fascinating because I'm like, whoa, it's like,
yeah,
that's like such a big deal, but like they're not making any bones about it. Like it's such a, you know, it's there, but they don't call any attention to it, and I love that about it. But yeah, dude, I really liked Cloverfield at the time. I've gone down on it significantly since then. Excuse me. People at the time really complained about like the motion sickness stuff.
I have that too. Yep.
It never bothered me then. It kind of did on my last watch, like a couple years ago. And then just the movie itself is just kind of like, it's just fine. Like I don't hate it or anything, but it's very, I came down on it significantly.
Nice, dude.
Yo, you heard it here first, bro. Somebody clip that.
Dude, I feel like my last thing too, the ending felt ridiculous. Like they should have 100% died like 3 times, and they kind of just kept just like the helicopter fucking smashes into the ground out of the sky, and they kind of just like the 2 pilots totally dead, but the 3 people in the back who are like less secured in their seats are just like, all right, like we got to get out of here.
Gotta go. Nah, I mean, you know, they definitely take some liberties, but you know, it was a cool moment in history, but it's since not aged very well.
I did forget about all that shit with the marketing, and I need to start watching movies not 15 years after they come out. Maybe I'll start doing that.
I mean, you got shit to look forward to.
True. True.
All right, so we spent like a lot of time on Cloverfield, so I guess I'll talk about something that I watched. So I watched the most recent Paranormal Activity movie from 2021 for the first time. Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin.
Mm-hmm.
It was exclusive to Paramount Plus. It didn't go to theaters. There is a Blu-ray for it, but it's in a limited edition box set, and it's the only way to own that movie. Like this, it's not in this set. It came out after the fact.
Mm.
And so this movie is crazy because it very much wants to be a normal horror film, but it's also like shackled to the genre, like the franchise that it's a part of,
Mm.
which is very much found footage. So I have my review up on Letterboxd here just to help me remember. But yeah, so basically it's a lot of non-diegetic like booms and like jump scared noises. Some of the camera angles literally make no sense. Like there's a scene where they're like sitting down with this like cult kind of family, and they're like having dinner together, and like the cult family starts like chanting and like doing this like pre-meal like ritual, and the camera is like jumping around, and it's like getting shots from places that like logistically make no sense.
Somebody just there. Like,
It really, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, this movie does not care about the rules, because there are rules to found footage that you have to follow,
mm-hmm.
and this movie follows none of them. Yeah, the movie in general is just very polished. It's very glossy 4K picture.
Mm.
There's a scene with so they tried to implement some new ideas, and one of the people they're filming a documentary. It's about this girl who was separated from her family. She was adopted, and these people are essentially Amish, and they're her real family. So they're filming a documentary about her finding her family, basically. And so they have this camera, and it has like a slow motion feature on it, and the guy is like explaining the slow motion to the Amish kids who don't know anything about it. So like that part, cool, makes sense a little bit, whatever. He's like, yeah, like it slows down like frame by frame to catch things that the human eye can't see. And there's like one cool shot in there, super 4K high res, of like these Amish kids like running through puddles, and like the puddles are like very like slow motion kind of making these ripples and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that's kind of unique, right? They're trying something out, whatever. And then at the end of the film, when they're being pursued by this fucking monster, for all intents and purposes, is chasing them, and they're recording it as it's chasing them, and the monster's like swinging at them, and it's like scraping metal or something. So there's like sparks flying, and like it goes slow motion at that point. So like it looks like kind of sick.
It sounds kind of sick.
But the problem is, it's like just very serendipitous that the camera happened to like glitch into slow motion mode at this very, very cinematic part.
Yeah.
And it just takes you right out of the movie. I mean, I hated it. Yeah, it really wanted to be a normal horror movie. Like you could very much tell just by like all the things that it's doing wrong are like things that normal movies do, and it's fine in those movies because they're normal fucking movies. Like you can take artistic liberties. You really can't with found footage. You're very much in a box with found footage, and the challenge is to do it in a way that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get to take all these shortcuts that other movies do. You get certain benefits though by being a found footage movie, but there's also like rules you have to follow as a result. So
yeah, I feel like much less is expected to happen.
Right, yeah, because only so much can happen, because the conceit is that this is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like the marked ones though. The marked ones is actually pretty cool. It's about it's about like a Spanish family, and they're being targeted by like this ghost thing. That one's cool. That one's like probably one of the better ones.
Dude, is the first one and like the first bunch of them, whatever, like strictly all that? So I've never seen any of these.
Never seen any of these movies?
Never seen any of these. I've talked about this on the channel before, but I'm not a huge fan of like ghost and haunting related stuff. Fucks me up. It's a long story. So I've not seen any of these, but is it fully like in-home security camera footage, like that green? Like, is that the whole thing?
So the first three, I would say, are like they're like the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much like it's like camcorder. In the second one, they start to get into like security footage. Eli Cortez is in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you in here. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about paranormal activity right now, so feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts. But yeah, I mean, oh shit, I was getting some feedback there for a second.
I like flipped my mic. Am I good? Am I good now?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay. It was like my own voice really loud in my ears for a second there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, dude, like the first three are good. They're a little more grounded. After that, they started to kind of get a little crazy. But yeah, those first three, and like I think some of them are even like, I think 3 is like set in the 80s, so it's like, it's like dad's, like camcorder footage, like from the 80s. So like that shit was pretty cool, actually. Like I actually kind of like the first 3. But so with that out of the way, what is another movie that you watched for the show?
Oh, okay. My next one is a film that I think we saw together in theaters when it came out. Is Chronicle.
Oh, Chronicle. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I forgot to grab that off the shelf. Like real quick before the show. Before the show, yeah, I was trying to like grab all my found footage movies, and I must have missed that one. But dude, Chronicle is fucking cool, dude.
Dude, I like Chronicle.
Chronicle's good.
When's the last time you watched it?
Oh man, it's been a minute. Let me see. Okay. It's definitely been a while.
I remember I loved it when it first came out. That was like what, like 2012?
2012. Yeah. I haven't seen it since 2020.
Damn. This is the first time I've seen it since we watched it that first time. It does a lot of things that I really like. Not even related to found footage first, but just like kids go into the woods, find some crazy thing. Love that. They fly as like, come on, you know?
Yeah. The premise is kind of brilliant because it allows them to do shit that you could not do in other found footage films. Like they're telepathically holding the camera. So like essentially any camera angle is on the table. Yeah, they get to do a lot with that one.
Yeah. And it starts off with like the first shot is actually really, I think the first shot is like my favorite shot in the whole thing. It starts off with like Andrew, the main dude, setting up the camera and filming himself in the mirror. And his dad is like trying to get into the room and is like freaking out that the door is locked. And you can tell that like he has like this crazy dad who's giving him shit all the time. And Andrew's telling him that he's filming. And like his dad's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm filming everything now. Like I have a camera, I'm filming everything. And his dad like backs off. And it was just like an interesting like setup for like, because like we've said how like you need to kick off the film with a reason to be filming. And that was just an interesting one that like it worked for me. Like, oh, okay, like there's this kid who's in just like his life is kind of shit, and for whatever reason he thinks that this will like help him somehow, and right off the bat it's showing to actually help him somehow. And that like worked for me. Towards the end of the film, when they start getting like super powerful, Andrew freaks out, and then him and Matt, his cousin, essentially start like fighting. Some of the camera, like the found footage format, starts to break down a little bit. We get a bunch of like security, like CCTV footage, which like fine. Dude, there's the scene where Andrew's he's in the hospital bed, and the camera's like on a tripod, and it's like creeping towards him, and his dad goes to like hit him, and he like wakes up and grabs the dad's arm, and then the whole room like explodes, and it's sick. But then from there, like they have the whole crazy like fight scene for a little while at the end. and there's some of the footage that's like seems like it's supposed to be like almost like police body cam footage. I guess we had that. I guess we were doing that then.
It was 2012, yeah.
But then like you get a handful of shots that are just like where that doesn't make sense, and there's no camera anymore, and so there's just like a few, literally like 5 or less shots towards that end fight scene where they're just like straight up shots, which was like kind of a bummer. But the whole movie as a whole, I just like as a film and as a story of like this kid who his life sucks, gets bullied, his mom is like super sick, his dad's an asshole, and then he like gets superpowers essentially, and doesn't actually start like using them really strongly until he goes out and tries to like get money to pay for his mom's meds. And like I don't know. I just really like the actual just like core story. And for me, it was interesting, like this as a, because of like this superpower element, I think them doing it as like the found footage format, they don't really need to do that, but it almost helped kind of like ground it and make it seem like less of a like, oh, this is like some superhero shit. Like it made it seem like, oh, like these are some kids who just stumbled into this thing, and like it helped kind of ground that like angle more. Yeah, and not an imperfect movie, but it definitely like hit for me still. It was fun to watch. Michael B. Jordan's very charismatic in it.
That might have been one of his first big roles. Like that might have been the movie that gave us Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. That it's an interesting way of doing the superhero thing. Because like 2012 is the year the first Avengers came out, so like superheroes were getting bigger at this time, but they weren't anything like they are now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a little bit ahead of its time in that way. It's like we could use a fresh take on superheroes like now. Like we kind of need that now.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm pretty sure the director got the job. He was just like filming shit with his friends that was like kind of loosely related to Chronicle, like the movie itself. Dude, it might have been, I think he made like a video of a party, and it was like these guys had like lightsabers, and he like Josh Trank lightsaber
was make just like YouTube stuff.
Yeah, he like he was just kind of like fucking around basically. I can't find anything on YouTube right now. I'll try to find it later. But he was just very much just like fucking around with his friends, and like did some stuff in like, I guess, After Effects to kind of make it like sort of that juxtaposition. Like I'm pretty sure it was like a party, if I'm remembering this correctly. It was like a party with his friends, and then like these two people start having like a lightsaber fight. And the lightsabers like look like very authentic. You know, it's obviously, it's not just like bullshit. Like it's, you know, very like real effects, but like with a found footage kind of spin on it.
Interesting.
And I think that's how he like got the job, because it was like a proof of concept that he could like, he had something with the found footage thing. But then he was
CGI thing, and
he was kind of like adding like a new sort of spin to it. That was fresh. So I'll have to. It's kind of I don't remember exactly, but it was very much like a, you know, like a very like indie sort of success story like that. Cool. And then go ahead.
I was gonna say that Chronicles definitely like a very seems like a very unique found footage film. Like usually you go like horror or like more something that seems documentary related. And this is just not really either of those, but like works still.
No, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a fresh take on it, by choosing to do it that way. Because like found footage can literally be any other genre like as well. Most of the time it's horror, but like you have Cloverfield, which is like a monster movie. You have this, which is like a superhero film. Like there's a lot of different routes you can take it. It doesn't have to necessarily be like a horror film. So I think it's really cool. I think it's definitely like a cult favorite, I think, at this point. It's unfortunate because the director wound up getting Fantastic Four, which is very bad movie, considered one of the worst superhero films ever.
From when? After that?
It would have been 2015, I think.
They did one of those.
It's got Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan is also in it.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot they. Yeah.
He wanted to make it like a body horror film kind of thing.
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, I mean, I say that, but like, obviously still working within the framework of Fantastic Four, but just inserting, because I mean, you think about Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah,
there are like body horror elements there. Like the Thing is literally a rock.
dude.
Mr. Fantastic is like stretchy. Doctor Doom, his version of Doctor Doom is like he's got like a metal suit of armor around him, is my understanding, but like his version was like his skin was going to turn into metal. So like he was trying to just make it like a cool, unique thing, and the studio was like, nah, we're not trying to have you do all that. And then the
I like the sound of that.
I do too. And then the final product we got was just kind of ass. And so I don't know that he's even made anything since then, dude.
It's a bummer.
His fall off was kind of unfortunate, but he gave us Chronicle though.
Damn. Yeah, Fantastic Four body horror sounds kind of sick.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like it makes more sense than you might think. So the next movie I watched was The Gallows.
Yes. Let's go.
This is not a good movie. It's really not.
Dude, we had so much fun with it.
You and I saw this in theaters like on a whim when this came out back in 2013, I think. Yeah, no, 2015. This movie has something, but like it starts off with like this, it's like a play happening in the 90s, and it's like a parent's like video camera footage, and a kid like winds up getting hung for real on stage. Like they're faking it, but he winds up actually getting hung and strangling to death, which is like super creepy. Like you've essentially caught that on video, and now this is what was like a wholesome family, video of someone's kid's play is now a snuff film. So like
not the same.
Right out of the gate, like this has some cool ideas. It's a found footage film in a haunted school at night. So like the idea of a school at night, very creepy. Take the found footage component, arguably even creepier. But the characters are just awful. Like the guy who's
remember them all being annoying.
The guy who's filming the whole time is making just quips nonstop. Like he would give HUD a run for his money.
Dude.
Just insufferable. And honestly, that's like the biggest problem with this movie is like the characters are awful.
Dude, that's like a big part of it.
But like the idea is very cool because now it's modern day, and the school is going to put the play on again, and they haven't done it since the 90s or whatever. So like there's really cool bones to this movie. Like there was a lot of potential here. Ultimately it just falls flat. But like I still have a soft spot for this, like mostly because you and I saw it together. We both like really enjoyed it at the time.
I remember being a very fun watch. Yeah.
It was just a good time. We were probably smoking some weed and just had a good time with it. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not anything terribly special at the end of the day, but like it's very frustrating for me because this could be great. There's really cool bones here. Miss Bunny Girl says, I'm surprised they made a sequel. So I was aware that they had made a sequel, but apparently it's even worse than this movie is. So I've never gone out of my way to watch it.
Dude, in my memory of it, was 2015 the fall? There was some fall where like it was just we went and saw probably like half a dozen movies in a couple months span, and it was just like banger. And I feel like that was in there, and so maybe like we were just expecting it to be really good, and then the next time we went and saw a movie was also really good, and so like my memory of that collective chunk of time was like I was like, yo, they were all bangers, and so like I put that in that group.
I think we were just having really great memories and great experiences, and like the movie itself was like not as important, like relative to just that time in our lives.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why I'll always have a soft spot for The Gallows, man.
Dude, I do remember. So the ending, I feel like for me, did some like I feel like that the ending does a little bit of maybe not heavy lifting, but does some lifting where it's like super creepy. Where like that whole thing happens, and then like SWAT like storms the girl's house, and then
Yeah, it's like it's the main girl who is like the love interest. You
mhm.
find out that her mom was in the play in the 90s, and her mom was in love with Charlie, the guy who got hung. And so the two of them, like, she's crazy and the daughter's crazy, and you don't realize that the daughter's been crazy this whole time until
Mhm.
right then. And then they like go into the house and like they're there like being really creepy, like brushing their hair and like watching the home
Dude,
video. And then the
dude,
camera cuts and then like Charlie like jump scares you.
dude, you get a super creepy shot that's still in my head of she's sitting on her mom's lap and her mom is like brushing her hair and they're just like
Yeah,
mad.
dude.
They're like being real slow and they like look over and then like SWAT like storms the house.
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily SWAT. It's definitely like authorities, like maybe the local police station. I'm not actually sure. I can't actually remember.
And then the mom like
Um,
supernaturally kills all of them or
no,
something.
it cuts to Charlie's ghost, and like the ghost like
Oh,
jump scares you, and that's the last thing you see. Yeah, Tyler and I have known each other since the second grade, so we are
this,
homies,
this is
hetero
my
life mates.
this is my guy.
Very much not gay, which is fine. It's okay to be gay.
Yeah,
Um,
that's just not
all
really what
right,
we got.
see, like that. I don't like what this little heart that you got going on here, dude. We're boys. We both like chicks. That's so irrelevant. All right, Gallows. What did? That's my take on The Gallows. What is the last movie that you saw? I think.
Yeah. All right. So this movie, I cheated a little bit, but I'm very glad that I did because of a lot of movies, especially definitely on my list, with exceptions for like the last movie that we'll inevitably talk about. But of the movies on my list and a lot of other movies that fall into this category, I think this movie did. It's not like found footage, but it kind of is. And I think it plays by all the rules very consciously and does it really well. And it was the first time that I saw this movie like 2 months ago. My last movie is Borat.
Oh, that's right. You told me that you saw this movie, dude. Dude, Borat is crazy, dude.
I somehow have never seen Borat. It's another one where I was like, all right, I finally like I'm gonna watch Borat, and so glad that I did. Very much lived up to the hype, despite me knowing. So obviously, I knew like tons of the one-liners. I would even say like very nice. Like I'll say that to myself still. And there's so like I was familiar with it from like a cultural thing, but I honestly didn't know like much about like the plot of the movie or like what actually happens.
Yeah, he's looking for Pamela Anderson.
Dude, I had no idea that had no idea that was a plot point.
All right, so Old Restless is chiming in here. It's not found footage. It's mockumentary.
It's definitely a mockumentary.
So I will say that I do believe that mockumentary can be considered an offshoot of found footage.
Mm-hmm.
Found footage can cover a wide array of things. It can be let's say like Unfriended, where it's all shot from the computer screen.
Yeah.
There's a movie that's it's called Dash Cam, and it's just straight up dash cam footage. So when we say found footage, there are some liberties. There are offshoots of the found footage subgenre. There are subgenres within it. So I will grant Borat as being a part of that. And I think it's interesting because
it's definitely mockumentary. Mockumentary is the most accurate for sure.
It's cool because all of my picks are horror films, and Tyler's inadvertently have been like a monster movie, a superhero movie, and a comedy. So I think that's bringing a lot of diverse, offerings here. So we'll talk about Borat. I'm not going to rush you or anything, but we'll definitely talk about Borat, and because I do think it's interesting because as far as the people who are being recorded in Borat are concerned, it was very much real for them. Like a lot of the footage in Borat is like real footage.
A lot of it, dude.
So please go ahead and tell us about your experience with Borat.
Dude, so Borat played. First of all, it's fantastic, right? It's very funny. Sacha Baron Cohen is absolutely insane. His dedication to the bit is insane, right?
Yeah.
Borat plays by all of the found footage rules, right? So it establishes early on that like, okay, we're doing this documentary. This is why we're filming, and because of like the format of like, oh, we're making this like finished documentary, so then we can like bring it back home and like it's like a government project essentially. And he has like a producer who he brings with him and stuff. It gives them like it gives it a clear structure, and then gives them a good excuse for segments where there is the parts where there's music, where there's like clean transitions and stuff. I don't think there's like title screens throughout at all or anything like that, or like graphics, but there are parts where it's like cleaner and more movie-esque, and like they make sense given the format that they like set up, or even at the beginning where it's like a very like it's very documentary setup at the beginning, right? And then it's like he knew what he wanted to come, and he knew what he wanted to set out and shoot, and he knew though that the impetus for each main plot point had to like come about organically, or else he was breaking like the rules, right? Or else he was like making it seem less authentic and less real. And so he essentially like prompted stuff. So like there's a part where he goes and he talks to like he goes like a feminist like thing, and he is talking to them, and he gets like he's like super rude, he gets super offensive, and then he's like trying to like he gets them to tell him who Pamela Anderson is, right? And like he clearly knew that he wanted to go and film that movie, and instead of just being like, oh, like they could have arrived at a whole bunch of ways, right? But he was like, no, I'm gonna make this into a way where somebody really in real life that's actually being filmed in a real way tells me about this person. And like he's able to do that, and he did that like a couple times. Do you remember that scene?
Dude, I haven't seen Borat in ages.
He's like talking to these women, and they're asking him, they're talking about women, and he was like, oh, like I saw he's like, I was watching this TV show, and like I like that, like there's this girl, and he like kind of like vaguely described her, and they were like, oh, like that's Pamela Anderson, and he was like, yeah, like where does she live? And they were like, ah, well, and he was just like, yeah, like that's what I'm into, and they were like, ah, well, like she's in California, and so he was like, all right, like I'm in, like I'm gonna go find her, and so they do some stuff like that, and then they also have some segments where they'll go from a segment that the part that almost broke it for me was the fight scene. Despite it being very funny and ridiculous, they're like fighting naked in the hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
It's so absurd that it kind of starts to break the illusion of this being like this real thing. But then, so they shot that, and then at some point, presumably like later, the two of them naked run into an actual like event happening, like an actual like high end like gala or something like that.
I remember this part.
And like shit is not chill, and they make it look like it runs right from that into that. And those segments, and like when he sings at the rodeo and stuff like that, come across so real because they are fucking real. They got in so much trouble during making this movie. The college kids that talk a whole bunch of crazy shit like in the RV, like tried to sue them. They got in tons of trouble, and it's like all that stuff is super real, and it really makes up for the fact that some of it, like like a bunch of it is scripted and like fabricated and like premeditated, and yeah, but the way that they were able to weave in like the fake stuff with the organic real stuff was just so crazy that like the overall product then felt like afterwards I was like so much of this felt so real, but there's no way that it was, and started looking stuff up, and they were like, yeah, they actually did that, got in a lot of trouble, and then this happened, and like that kept being the case, and it's unlike anything else I've ever seen. They followed all the rules. It was great.
Real quick, Jamie Hart, thank you so much for joining
good,
us. Surprisingly, we are talking about Borat right now. I doubt that many of us thought we'd be talking about Borat on our found footage stream. But as Tyler says, and he makes a really great case here, and I didn't know this either. Like, I hadn't really considered this, but like, if you take all these things that Tyler's talking about and you apply it to a horror film, that's one of the better found footage horror films you've ever seen. As far like as long as you're a like, we'll talk about this when we get to Blair Witch, but just like the best way to capture these things is to go out and just actually do them, because then there's like, you can people can tell when things are real and when they're not. And if you can pass something that's fake off as being real, more often than not, there are qualities to what you're passing off that are real. You know, it might be fake, but there are things about it that are being controlled, and the illusion is pulled off successfully when you can hide the things that are being controlled. And Borat does that, dude. So
well.
So I think it gets a lot. It doesn't get as much credit as it should, despite being like a phenomenon at the time and being like one of the most quoted comedies. People still, to this day, they're nice. Like, you still, like, you still, my wife, like, you still will get that. Like, especially where I work, you know, in the kitchen, like, you'll hear that shit all the time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get enough credit for the things that, like, the level of commitment that you mentioned with Sacha Baron Cohen, like his commitment that he has to doing this. Like, if you're not 100% in on this, the whole thing falls apart. People didn't know, like, Sacha Baron Cohen had done a few things like Ali G into House, which was like a show, I think, and maybe a movie as well. But like, the thing about him was like, he was kind of like a chameleon. And he would
still he's so good.
He would disappear into these roles. He had a few things that came out after Borat. Like, there was like Bruno, and there might have been
I watched some clips of that. Yeah,
there might have been like one other one, but like, he wasn't like a traditional Hollywood character or an actor. So like, he was able to kind of disappear into these roles. Okay, so Borat was actually a character on the Ali G show.
Oh, interesting.
So I think Ali G would have been like before our time. Like, we were probably watching like Cartoon Network and shit when this was on. So I'm vaguely familiar with the Ali G show. That's cool though. That's cool. So I wonder if Bruno was also a character on that show. Very interesting. Thank you for that, Old Restless. But okay, so Jamie Hart says Borat is hilarious. Yes, it is. My favorite mockumentary is Drop Dead Gorgeous. I've never seen that before. I'll have to look into that.
Check it out. Love a mockumentary.
Old Restless is still not sold on it. Well, all right. So we will move on to something more conventional hot found footage. But I am glad that Tyler brought that up, because it only serves to show that, you know, this isn't limited to horror films, basically. So
and I think it helps us kind of to highlight, like, you know,
the things that these movies have to do well.
Yeah.
Which you know, Borat still does. So I have a few that I'm going to run through real quick. I watched VHS 1 and VHS 2.
Those look dope.
Which are like, they're horror found footage anthologies, and the various segments are the conceit is that they're being presented as the different segments are all on these different VHS tapes, and there's like a wraparound story with most anthologies, and the characters are like watching the tapes, and it's just various horror stories. So pretty cool. VHS 1 is like fine. I didn't really love it. It had a couple, like with most anthologies, there's like one or two segments that are like really standouts, and then there's a couple that are kind of just there that are padding. But the thing about VHS 1 that I found really cool was all the talent that was attached to it. So in these various segments are directed by Ty West, who did X and Pearl, and Maxine and the Innkeepers. Radio Silence, who did Ready or Not and Scream 5 and 6. Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, they both did The Guest, and they also did You're Next, which are both very good movies. And then Adam Wingard has gone on to direct like some of the Godzilla vs. Kong films. And David Bruckner, who he did Hellraiser, the new Hellraiser movie. He did The Night House, and he did a couple other horror films as well. So like the level of talent that came out of this movie is crazy, like really big. It's like a whole new wave of horror directors that have gone on to be very prolific. So, and the same is the case with VHS 2. A lot of the same guys came back for VHS 2. VHS 2 I thought was better. And there's one segment in VHS 2 in particular called Safe Haven, which is like far and away the best segment out of both of the films. VHS has gone on to spawn like a lot of sequels. I think there's like 7 or 8 of these things now. I haven't seen close to all of them, but these first 2 are, sort of considered the better ones in the whole franchise. So I'm glad that I watched both of those. I had like vague memories of both of these. Couldn't really say that I had seen them in their entirety, so I just kind of wiped the slate clean and rewatched both of them just, for posterity. And then after those 2, I went ahead and watched The Last Exorcism. Have you seen this movie?
I don't think so.
The Last Exorcism is cool because it's about like a priest, and he's kind of like a highway. So he's like a fraudster basically. He performs exorcisms, but he doesn't actually believe in them. And he has a documentary crew with him, and he sort of shows the crew sort of the ways in which he performs these exorcisms that are like phony. Like he has a crucifix that has like a device in it that like pours steam out of it. So like when he presses it to someone's head, it produces steam. And the whole idea is that he's not necessarily a bad guy, but what he's doing is performing a service for people who need it. Much in the way that like, people who are religious, whether it's actually real or not, get a lot of benefit out of praying and stuff. And it does help them in a way. It's mostly internal, but it's, so he performs these exorcisms for people. And, he's not a bad guy really, but like, he's very much shown to just be like, this is fake. I know it's fake, but like, I'm helping people. So like,
he justifies it for himself. Yeah.
But then he goes and performs an exorcism on a girl, and it turns out she's actually possessed.
Oh.
Which in and of itself is a very cool setup, because it's this guy who's out of his depth, and now, he kind of knows how this is supposed to play out, but he's never actually done it before. So now he's in a situation where he has to kind of, figure this shit out and actually do it for real. And he has to actually believe in it. Otherwise it doesn't work. And so some crazy shit happens. There's some twists and some turns. I won't spoil the ending. But it's really cool. It's a good movie. I actually quite like it. It's pretty light on scares, but just the ideas in general, the stuff that it's presenting you with, are pretty cool.
When is that from?
That is from 2010.
Okay.
So The Last Exorcism, pretty damn cool movie. I enjoyed rewatching it for this. Yeah, overall, it's just light on scares. That's kind of the biggest problem with it, but I think it makes up for it in some other ways as well. And then the last movie that I just watched last night is The Fourth Kind.
Oh shit, you watched it?
I watched The Fourth Kind. I have a lot of thoughts on The Fourth Kind.
Yeah.
But I want you to kind of take the reins here. So you actually recommended this one to me.
Totally forgot about it. Yeah.
And it's not really found footage. It's like
it incorporates.
It's very strange. This movie's fascinating to me. So it's like it's this story that supposedly happened, and the whole entire film is essentially like a dramatization of those events. But then it's very strange because then it'll go like split screen and it'll show like the actual footage with the movie footage, and it's like, hey, look how similar they are.
Mm-hmm.
But then I did a little like research. The footage they use is not real footage. It's just, so that shit is also made up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the idea that they're like presenting you with is like, look how accurately we've matched this up, and it's doing split screen and it's showing you both the fake version and the real version,
Mm-hmm.
but they're both the fucking fake version.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little annoyed by that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was that it like offended me because it's like, it's so like Mila Jovovich is playing the main girl, and then they're also like intercutting the entire film with this interview of the real girl. But then you figure, I quickly Googled, like, that is also an actress.
Mm-hmm.
So like the movie just blew my fucking mind in that way because I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, they're trying, it's very deceitful, and maybe this really was effective when this came out. But I think watching this for the first time in 2025 did
Mm-hmm.
me no favors because I was very critical of it. And ultimately, a lot of people who talk about this movie, like Jamie Hart, for example, different, interesting. I agree with that. Jamie, did you watch this movie when it came out? Because my experience, what I've seen online, is that the people who watched this when it came out, it traumatized them. It scared the living shit out of them. So you watched this when it came out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I could see that having been the case for me, but since I'm watching it for the first time here,
What was the year? 2009. Yeah. Yep.
I was just very critical of it and kind of breaking it apart because it's like, just make this whole thing the found footage stuff, and like you've like, you know, like there's a version of this movie that's just all found footage.
Interesting.
Like,
yeah,
that just do that.
yeah.
Like they're trying to do both, and it's very weird to me.
That is, yeah.
It did not work for me. I really didn't. I didn't really like this movie, unfortunately.
Dude, so all super valid. Let me just give how I came to it. And when it came out, it was very effective and they got in trouble for it. So you know how like there's like they're referencing like these cases and all this research and stuff.
Yeah, they're passing off all these incidents as having actually like taken place.
They created a whole fake database and fake website and all of this stuff for the movie and like had it published as like references, and I think they got sued for it of trying to pass off. They got sued for like trying to pass off like fake science shit. I'm sure that's absolutely not like technically what happened, but like that's what happened. And I saw, so I didn't know about it, right? But I'm what, 2009, so I'm 15. I'm 14 or 15, depending on when it came out. I'm at my grandmom's house, and I have family visiting from Puerto Rico who I've never met before. And I have a cousin who doesn't speak English, and my Spanish is trash, right? So we don't really communicate. I've never met her. She looks like she's like a year or two older than me. And we're hanging out, and a couple other of our cousins are there. And we're in the basement at my grandmom's house, which we didn't usually hang out in the basement. For obvious reasons, but there was a TV down there, and so she was staying there. She's staying at my grandmom's house. Her and her mom are staying at my grandmom's house, and so she had been like, "Oh, cool! Like, there's kind of a separate little living room in the basement. I'll just hang out down there." So I go over there. She's there. We go in the basement. We're hanging out, and then she's like, is like, "Oh, I have this movie that like I rented. We should watch it." And we were like, "All right." And she puts on this movie, and it's this. And I just kind of sat there and was just like, just like completely absorbed into this movie. And like for me as a 14, 15-year-old, I was like fully bought into the like, oh, this is the dramatization of like this stuff that had happened, and
Yeah.
it deals a lot with like weird stuff around they're like in Alaska, and all these people have like similar weird like dreams and interactions, and there's like potentially alien abduction stuff, but then there's also just like very real trauma, like a like in like a guy beats his wife, like kills his wife or something crazy, or vice versa, or
Yeah.
and so there's all this crazy shit, and then I can't even fully remember it, but I know that there's like aliens are involved somehow, right? Fourth kind.
You never see the aliens, but you see a very. It's actually a cool shot of like the dash cam of the police officer of the house, and you see like the silhouette of the UFO, which is actually pretty cool. It's very subtle. It's very restrained.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more of that, honestly. But
Gotcha.
please continue.
Yeah, and I just remember like being there with this girl that I could not talk to, being traumatized by this movie, and then leaving that night. And like it's at night, and we're leaving. We're walking down the driveway at my grandmom's house. And I remember like being like straight up like scared, being like, oh fuck, like being scared of the sky. And then that was like a recurring thing for a while as like early teenager of like having fears of like hearing shit outside, like waking up in the middle of the night, hearing shit outside, and being like, there it is, like that's aliens, and like
Dude,
being afraid
yeah.
like of that conceptually. Yeah.
When you're a kid, that shit is infinitely more effective.
Mhm.
So I don't want to totally write this movie off, because I think for what it was doing at that time, like extremely effective. This would have been the same year as Paranormal Activity, actually.
Oh wow.
So
Right.
like even then, even at that time, people were probably more likely to believe that this real footage that you're being shown is real. Like,
Yeah.
I can understand why this was effective at the time. But for me watching it, like right away, the girl that they're interviewing, who was supposed to be the real life version of Mila Jovovich,
Mhm.
she is like ghastly pale. Like she's speaking with this cadence that like is like a little too heavy handed of
She
the
looks unwell.
trauma.
Mhm.
All it takes is for me to go on Letterboxd, scroll to the cast, and see that there's two
Of the same
actresses
actor. Yeah.
playing the same character, and I'm like, because what it should say is so and so as herself, but that's
Mhm.
not the case, because this is a fake fucking person as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So and then I'm right away I'm like, okay, well, there goes that dream, right? So but then I'm like, all right, let me just kind of consume this for on its own merits. And unfortunately, the film is just very boring. It's very boring. Very little happens. Like the scares, the
Mhm.
big scare set pieces are like the hypnotism scenes,
Mhm.
and there's a couple of them that are pretty fucking creepy. They do like this drop down mouth thing effect, where like it's from the footage. Like this is where the found footage stuff comes into play,
Mhm.
where it's like her recordings of the sessions, and like the one dude gets possessed by a fucking alien, and he starts to like kind of levitate
Hmm.
off the bed, and like his mouth just forms like this gaping hole. You know what I'm
Eh,
saying? Like
I don't fully remember that, but it sounds
it
tough.
happens again with the girl at the end of the movie. She starts to levitate, her mouth like drops like way down, like it's
Dude.
this crazy effect, and like it's very restrained. Like they don't do it a lot.
Mm.
So the fact that they only do it in those scenes would only serve to further solidify it as being real, because if you do that throughout the whole film, then like
Yeah.
it loses its impact. But
Yep.
when you're watching this very like almost procedural sort of like drama about this woman who's having like all this trauma with her dead husband, this community who's being like torn apart by this seemingly shared phenomenon, it's all very like sort of clinical. And then you get to that stuff at the end, and it's like, whoa, like this is fucking real. The problems are that the performances are just not good. They're not there. Like
Mm.
Mila Jovovich, arguably not a good actress. Will Patton plays like the sheriff, and he's pretty good. Like he's selling it, but like the problem is that he's like here, and like everyone else is kind of like here. So like it's they're not really meeting each other at the same place. So the performances are just not there to kind of sell this as being like a real thing for me. And like that's my like found footage. If I don't believe it, the whole thing is for nothing.
Yeah.
And this is a very interesting case where it's not a conventional found footage movie. There are aspects of that to it. And I'm actually glad that we've kind of branched out from the more like we're going to talk about Blair Witch here at the end. But I'm glad we've kind of talked a little bit more about some of the offshoots, right? That are like sort of maybe playing in that sandbox a little bit. Because it's useful to kind of go into the things that they do right and the things that they don't do right. So, yeah, I am kind of dismantling this movie, but like,
I don't saw when you were 14 in a basement, bro.
I know. I was probably watching the fucking Disney Channel or something. I don't know what I was doing, but you know, it's a fascinating film, and maybe not for all the best reasons, but I think it's really cool. It's very much seems to have been very much a product of its time. Because I went on, so I had to rent this on YouTube, and then I cast it to my TV. And what's cool about that is that when you do that, you still have like the comments section. So it's just mad comments about this movie, and it's just crazy. It's just comment after comment of people being like, "Yo, this shit terrified me when I was a kid. Yo, this shit fucked me up." And I'm like, "Damn, like I can see the vision here. I just wasn't a part of it."
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. Dude,
I wish I would have been seeking something out, I'm sure, around this time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like me, just like me, like it found me, right? In no way was I like, I knew nothing about it, didn't know what it was, didn't choose it. All of a sudden it was just on in front of my face. And it was like the right age, right time, perfect setting. And so it just like really hit for me. And I didn't have, 2009 didn't have, you don't even then, like it's weird because it doesn't seem that long ago, but then it wasn't like, oh, I'll just look it up, right? You could obviously like, we had the internet, we looked stuff up, but like,
yeah,
it wasn't a given that like info about anything that you wanted was just like easily findable.
Yeah, and if it is, like, you don't know if it's valid, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just watched it and I was like, all right, that's real.
Found footage, found him. Dude. Found Dude. Yo, that's crazy.
Dude.
Old Restless is cooking, bro.
He is cooking tonight.
Guys ever see Willow Creek? No, is that the or maybe I'm thinking of Wolf Creek. I'm thinking that's like Wolf Creek's like an Australian thing. I've never seen Willow Creek though.
And we did talk about Willow a few months ago. Oh,
we did. Yeah, that's just hilarious. All right, so we're coming in at an hour and a half here. I figure we'll just spend the last half hour just talking about Blair Witch, dude. Mew Medic, what's up, man? Or lady. I'm not sure. I've seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Thank you for joining us. I've never seen Willow Creek. A lot of people saying it's a big. I've heard of this movie. Never seen it though.
Is it good? Is it worth watching? It sounds interesting.
A found footage film about Bigfoot seems like a match made in heaven.
Yeah,
he's like the cryptid. So it makes sense to have a movie about people trying to capture Bigfoot because that's literally happened.
Yeah.
As long like that's the big thing, right? Like, so this will be like my preamble before we get into Blair Witch. Like, the whole point of a found footage film is that you're trying to present this as something that, didn't necessarily really happen, but you want to try to preserve that illusion, if you can. It's a very delicate thing. And if you can do it right, even though we know on a subconscious level that it's not real, you can really create something special, like with Blair Witch here.
Damn, strong.
And create an experience that even though I know it's not real, you get swept up in it, and it's that much more effective for it. So Tyler actually just rewatched Blair Witch Project like literally 2 hours before this show, not even. So it's very fresh in your brain. So I want to let you take it away here.
Dude, Blair Witch Project is sick. Watched it. The first time I watched it was perfect. It was like we were at a friend's house. There's a bunch of us there. I didn't know anything about it. We were all just like hanging out. Like we were in like high school. It was like a late at night and a weekend. We were just like hanging out in the living room. Watched it. Was terrified. Loved it. It's very interesting how much of it has been just fresh in my head still. Rewatching it was very interesting, where it's like I felt like the first it felt sort of, because I wasn't prepared for like the format at the time, it felt almost like a lot of the footage was random, and like a lot of the things that happened, especially earlier on, were just like not random, but like not terribly consequential. And going back and rewatching it, not the case. There's like so many little things that happen in the first, especially the first like 15 minutes when they're like getting ready and they're in the town and like before they get to the woods, that are foreshadowing. That was just like really cool to see. Even like coming into it, I just have a lot of respect for it. We've talked about it a lot. And just to see like, oh, okay, like there's more going on here than I thought there was. And I already like thought that there was a bunch going on. Yeah, dude, like at no point does it not feel real. Dude, the interviews in the town are so like I'm not convinced that those weren't like, were those real? Like, what was the deal with that? Like, were they interviews? Were they fake?
So I think like one or two of those people were like theater actors that they got. And those are the ones who had like more significant lore to deliver. But like everyone else, everyone else is like just random people that they found on the street. And they didn't even really feed them any lines. They were just like, we're going to say this stuff to you, and then just kind of like whatever you give back to us. I think they kind of filled them in about the legend and stuff. But they didn't give them like a ton of detail. And that was to kind of, create the sense that like the thing is very muddy, and no one is like, there isn't like a universal sort of truth that is accepted as like fact.
Yep.
So everyone's kind of like giving their 2 cents on it. But nothing is very like cohesive. Like some things match up, but like it's very much like a folktale sort of thing, where like everyone has a different interpretation.
Dude, there's like they're interviewing this like mom who's like holding her child, and she's like telling about like the tale, and Heather's like, "Do you believe it?" And she's like, "I don't go there." And then as she's trying to tell this like story, her baby is like, "No," and is trying to cover her mouth, and that was just like fucking super weird, like
just a totally random thing that they captured.
So weird.
Wasn't planned.
Dude, so there's like stuff like that, and then they talk to Mary real quick, who's like just town weird lady, who like some people seem to think like, oh, maybe she's supposed to be the witch, and or like she claims to have had an encounter with the witch. And they go to her house, and you get a quick shot of her gate, and it's like those thick sticks and like twine, and it looks like the things that are out in the woods. And so they just like in that first 15 minutes they sprinkle a few things in that then later on you're like, oh, like this could be that, or like this could be that, and they do that really well. Dude, there's a shot, I'll let you go in a second, but there's a shot when they're in the hotel room like the first night where they're like kind of regrouping and they're like drinking beer, and there's a shot where you are seeing somebody's filming from the bed, and they're filming Heather and Mike, and you see, because you're seeing the mirror shot to the side, Mike is just standing there, like you just see like the back of Mike just like standing there.
I've never seen that before,
dude.
I never caught that,
dude, because I was just doing like the thumbnail and I was looking at like that silhouette like for 2 hours the other day, right when that shot came on screen, and it's even like sort of framed up the same. Like it's the mirrors on the right side of the screen, and then Mike and Heather and Mike are standing on the left, and you can't see Heather's reflection in it, but all you can see on the right side of the screen is the back of Mike just like standing there like that.
That's fucking sweet, dude. I don't know how I've never noticed that before.
It's real quick. It was fucked though. Yeah, and then they just do like a great job of like so much of the meat of the middle of the movie. Nothing spooky is happening. They kind of just like you get into like human tension. They all start freaking out at each other. They get lost. That all happens, and then right when that really boils high for the first time is when they have the first like supernatural shit happen at night, and like that transition. I know we talk about if you're playing Talk from the Shelf bingo, you can hit your hereditary card. You can hit your hereditary point here, but like Hereditary does that so well, where they take so much time to establish just human interpersonal conflict that is very unsettling. And then he's like, yo, there's some spooky shit going on too. And for whatever reason, that transition just is so effective. And Blair Witch does that really well. And then all of a sudden now you just feel like you're like, I'm in this group of people in the woods and we're not getting along and we have problems. And now we have a much greater problem. And because we have problems, I don't feel adequately like I can't solve, like I can't like we're defenseless against this thing because we are not even solid. You know what I mean? And like the whole thing, everything just feels like it's breaking down. And then Heather breaks down and she starts crying, and you're like, great, dude. It's fucked. The movie, it's fucked. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Dude, yeah, I agree with everything you said. Fun fact: Heather brought an actual knife with her because she wasn't sure that the production was actually real. It's a new and not well understood concept at the time. Yeah, I have heard that before.
Dude,
because like in the movie, they don't all know each other very well. Like I'm pretty sure Josh like is just a guy that they kind of hired because he was like they just needed like a guy with some film experience, and he was looking to get some more film experience. So like they're like they and they didn't really know each other like in real life either. So like it's another instance of like life imitating art. Blair Witch is, in my opinion, the only found footage movie of the ones that I've seen that I would consider like a flawless masterpiece and like commits no cardinal sins of the genre. Everything about it is so, it's as close as you can be to the events you see in the movie actually being real without them actually being real. They were actually camping in the woods. They didn't leave the woods at night and go to a hotel room. They're in the woods. They're not actually being directed by the directors. Every night, the directors would leave them notes in a film canister, and then the next day they would go read their notes. You know, they would get the footage back. The directors, they would watch what they had filmed, and then based on that, because they're not there while it's being filmed, so they would rewatch. They would watch the footage at night, make notes for them, leave the notes, and say, "Hey, like by the end of this day, all of your characters need to be in these positions, or you know, to get from plot point to plot point." And so, like that in and of itself is a crazy way to be directed in a film. Like, yeah. You're not actually
it's a social experiment more than it is like even like a film production.
That's what I'm saying. Like this whole thing, like you weren't actually being directed by a director in the conventional sense. You're having to very much trust your instincts. Like there's no script. Like all the dialogue is just improvised. Like these guys were just, they were operating on under their notes. They knew where their character had to go, and they had to just, fill in the blanks.
So insane, dude.
No, I mean it's crazy, man, and it's like all the things that the movie does. Nothing is ever unbelievable. Like you said, like there's nothing that ever happens in the movie that you're like, don't know about that.
Nope.
Never happens, not once. And it's all like realistic fears. Like imagine being camping in the woods and you like hear little kids laughing.
Nope.
At night.
Hard pass.
It's terrifying and you don't even see anything, dude. You don't see anything. There's a pile of rocks outside their tent. The rocks are scary because who put them there? They were outside your tent while you were asleep in your most vulnerable state.
Yeah,
They could have done anything else, but this is what they chose to do. Why did they do that? That's fucking scary.
dude. When the tent is shaking,
Dude, when they're running, I've probably told you this before. You already know this, but when they're running and Heather says, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that?" Apparently, it was one of the directors in like a white morph suit, just like doing fucking weird shit in the woods. Just like, but they didn't capture it.
right.
So she saw something, and the intent was for that to be in the film, but they never caught it.
Probably better
and,
for it.
and it's better for it, dude. I would
Yeah.
hopefully I would like to think that had they caught it, they still maybe would have omitted it in the edit because But this whole thing was just like it was this ever like the directors like they had like a sandbox that they drew out, and they took these like variables with these characters, like these real people, and they kind of just wound them up and like threw them in the woods and just kind of watched what happened. Like they had a set of parameters, like they guided it as much as they could, really, without like directly involving themselves, and then they just like captured the result. And that's this movie. And no other found footage film has ever been shot and made in the way that this film is made.
I don't know if anything else has been shot in that way.
And that's why this movie is so special, man. Like some people think it's boring. It's not for them. It's not scary. Whatever. Like whatever, valid. But like, I mean, you can't deny like what this movie did though. Like all the things that I just mentioned, like you simply can't discredit those things, even if it's not your cup of tea. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, that's such an insane swing to take, and like the fact that they were able to like, I don't know if it's more impressive that they were able to execute that, or more impressive that they were able to like get it off the ground in the first place. Of like if you and I were like, like, can we get some like essential strangers to like kind of just run and gun a horror film in the woods, and we'll kind of give them notes, but more or less we'll just let them just figure it out on the fly. Like
that's the idea thing. The level of trust that you would have to have in these guys is crazy.
And vice versa. Like for three people to be like, yeah, I don't really know what this is or who you are, and like you've never really done anything, but like I'll trust you to like just have me run around the fucking woods. Like
the movie was insanely profitable.
And insanely cheap to create, I'm sure.
Insanely profitable. And what's fucked is Heather, Josh, and Mike got fucked at the time because they essentially made no money off of this movie.
Damn.
And they're like on all these talk shows and very famous, but they have nothing to show for it, essentially. Dude. So actually, Lionsgate just recently sort of like made things right with them. Now, they were never under any legal obligation to do so. The people in charge of Lionsgate are very likely not the same people now as it was back then. But, the three of them, Heather, Josh, and Mike, sort of came forward and were like, hey, listen, like we were never really fairly compensated for this film and like our involvement in it. So like it'd be sick if like you could do these things for, like not even just like monetary thing. Like they wanted to set up like a grant, like a film grant for like up and coming like filmmakers, like a scholarship for them. Like they had all these requests, and to my knowledge, they did it. Lionsgate like came forward and like kind of made them whole in a way, which is super cool. Again, under no legal obligation to do so, but very cool of them. Wow. So, if you were around at the time, like I was, because I'm old. Oh, stop it, Jamie. All the marketing, the website, the History Channel doc, which are all very interesting things that I didn't even go into. Like this thing, it had all these things going for it. Like she says, like there was another doc, Curse of the Blair Witch or something like that. The website, very rudimentary early internet, like just very interesting shit. We are 31. Are you also 31?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember. Yeah, you're in May. Yeah. We're 31. There was a viral marketing kit. Yes, of course. I omit all that stuff because I assume that stuff's all a given. Like I'm sure everyone knows about that already. you know, I don't want to just be harping on shit that most people already know about this movie, because a lot of this stuff is common knowledge if you're a fan of it.
I was remember you telling me that I want to say your dad's friend was like surprised, like they came out for like the Oscars or some kind of movie awards, and like they were there, and he was like, "Yo, like how are they?"
It was my mom. It was my mom's husband at the time, his brother. So my like step uncle was like convinced that it wasn't real, or that it was real. That it was real, and then like they came out on like VH1 or some shit like that, and it was like, there they are.
Dude, that's probably trippy for him, man.
I hope you mean that we look 21 and 25.
I'm taking it as a compliment, 100%.
Because I'd like to think that I'm like a sophisticated film scholar who can speak on film. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. If that's what you meant. Tyler ain't a day over 19.
I'm trying, man.
He's clean shaven right now, but if you get his beard going,
pretty cleaner now.
Yeah, there was a dossier that was published that also fooled everyone too. Yeah, like there was just so much stuff happening at the time that was crazy. So if you guys haven't seen it, I also have like a video essay on my channel that goes into this movie deeper. If you want to check that out. I also have an interview on my channel that I did with Mike Manello, who was a producer on this film. We talk a bit about Mike Manello's career leading up to Blair Witch and like what he's doing now. We also talk about this Second Sight box set of Blair Witch. Very interesting stuff there. We talk a lot about how prior to this release, the film didn't actually look the way that it was supposed to. The film was essentially shot on like these high 8 tapes. And then in order to convert that to film so that the film could be projected in, you know, movie theaters, there was a process that had to be done that, you know, is very beyond my pay grade. But essentially the end result was that the film did not look the way that it was supposed to. So the movie that everyone essentially saw didn't look right. And so this is the first time that this movie has ever actually like looked right. And I was talking to Mike Manello about it, and you know, listening to him talk about it was so fascinating. Excuse me. And you could tell it was a really big deal for him to finally have the film out the way that it was supposed to be. And he seemed like a little emotional about it too. Like you could tell it was something that really bothered them. Because when Second Sight reached out to them to release Blair Witch, Mike Manello like mentioned like, hey, by the way, do you know that the movie doesn't look right? And like Second Sight was like, what? And they were like, oh shit, like, well, let's fix that. And they invested a lot of money in doing so, like money that they didn't actually have to spend. Like they could have just done a cool chunky box.
Nobody would have thought anything of it. Yeah.
With a cool book and all that other extra shit. But they went above and beyond to really make this like the definitive release of this movie. Like you'll never need another release of this movie if you're lucky enough to own this. I think this actually goes for some money now. You can get the base version without all this extra shit, but this itself goes for some money now. So, but all that aside, hold on. We look young and virile. Sweet. Thank you.
Thanks.
To be fair, it had me fooled up until a week before release. Yeah, I really wish I was old enough to be around when this came out. I mean, I was, but I would have been like 4 or 5 years old. So
yeah, but it was 99.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
I'm so glad I didn't see it then.
Do you know anything about Blair Witch 2? No, totally different people. Nobody returning was involved. It was different directors, different cast. It's not even found footage.
Was that recent-ish?
No, it was like the next year.
Oh.
They cranked it out. It's actually an interesting premise because it's a movie about people reacting to the Blair Witch Project. Like in the movie, Blair Witch is a movie that people have seen. So like
Interesting.
it's people going to Burkittsville, going on tours and shit, because of the popularity of the movie. So it's actually kind of a cool premise. It's kind of meta. It's a cool premise.
Yeah.
The movie itself is not very good. Yeah, Second Sight is doing the Lord's work for sure. Stop, Jamie. You're not old. I will say it's underrated in that sense that it has a cool premise. They didn't just run it back and make another found footage movie that would have been substantially worse. They did kind of take a different approach with it. Probably just out of like logistics. Like I doubt it was like any kind of like artistic decision to do that. Like it was probably just easier to do that. But regardless of the intent, it wound up kind of being an interesting idea.
Isn't there like a shitty one that was like somewhat recent where?
Yeah, there's a 2016 movie just called Blair Witch, I think,
that sounds
and it's poo poo.
Oh yeah, the one where you have the fart sound effect on the
Yeah,
on the video.
It's poo poo. It like shows the witch, and then the director
nice.
and then the directors were like, actually, that's not the witch. Even though it totally was, like they were just kind of responding to the backlash of showing the witch, which is like, you never show the witch. Like that's rule number one. You know,
Dude,
and
there might not be any witch.
That's rule number one.
I have no idea, bro.
There might not even be one, bro.
There's definitely some weird shit definitely was going on.
That much we can say for sure.
That's kind of all you know.
Everything else is up to interpretation, dude.
Dude, Josh.
Blair Witch would have been awesome if they developed it a few years after 2016. What do you mean? Oh, like what about after 2016 would have been significant? I don't know why that would have made it better.
I'm curious. While we
While
we wait for response,
you said something about Josh.
Dude, what is good with Josh? So like he disappears, and then they receive a tongue. You assume it's Josh. You kind of hear him. It sounds like him screaming.
Yeah, but it could be like a fucking skinwalker who's just making his voice. That's the cool shit. Like we don't actually know.
And then like when they're in the house, fuck the house too.
Tell me where you are, Josh,
dude. And like it sounds like him, but you never see him again.
You do not. And then Mike is so they talk about Rustin Parr in the beginning too, which you neglected to mention.
Oh, right, yeah.
With the whole lore of like sitting in the corner and shit. Yeah, dude, like it's just it's so perfect.
Dude, all the handprints like upstairs in the house.
Yeah. No, the production of that house is crazy. I wish it was that house is gone now. It's torn down.
That's probably for the best, honestly.
Yeah, well, people would be like going there and like taking bricks from it, you know, to bring back to their house and shit.
Indeed.
It was underdeveloped. They added new lore. And suddenly Heather has a little brother now. Okay, I guess I kind of see what you mean.
You just felt like it was just rushed.
Well, I get, but it's 2016, right? So we're 17 years after the fact. So I don't know. I must be misunderstanding something, but I understand. I understand these complaints of like, so they add the new lore with like this. There's like a time loop thing going on, and that's why they're lost in the woods and they can never get out. So they're like expanding a little bit on that stuff, which is present in the original. I go into some of that in my video essay. The idea of Heather having a little brother, that doesn't necessarily bother me. That's like fine. You know, it's understandable that he would want to go out and find her. Like that's a good place to start. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to do a sequel 17 years after the fact. Yeah, I don't know. It has a lot of problems. It's too polished. It's too glossy again. And like, it does everything opposite of what the original does, basically.
Dude, the original does a really good job too of that they have two cameras that are very visually distinct too. And that never bothered me at all. In Chronicle, there's a few scenes where there's some other girl, there's like a love interest that that Matt has, and she's just like a filmer girl. So there's a handful of scenes where like all of a sudden it'll cut and it's like from her perspective, and those just like the camera didn't look really like the style and like the aesthetic of the camera wasn't really different at all. So it was just like, oh, like this is just a camera shot, and like you could tell that she wasn't actually filming like it would show her, you would see her, and then it would go to the reverse shot like coming from her, and the angle didn't match like where she was filming from, and like that just like fucked with me. And in Blair Witch, because they literally were filming with the cameras that they were actually holding, like
Mhm.
it just totally works.
So I will say, for something like Chronicle that's doing something like that, admittedly, we are in like the 1% of the population who's even going to notice shit like that.
Sure.
Most people not even going to register to them at all. And like, I'm fully aware of that. Like that a lot of these problems that I have with
Yeah.
found footage movies that don't do certain things right, in my opinion, for a lot of other people are like total non-issues. So,
Sure.
but you know, if we're going to get down to it, if we're going to get into the nitty gritty, there are things that you have to do in order to preserve that illusion. So,
I think,
but yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think too, in like Blair Witch, it helps to having those two cameras help to kind of in scenes where like they're just running around and they are cutting between the cameras. It actually helps orient whose perspective you're watching, who you're seeing it from. It also kind of like seemed like serve. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but like it helped me keep track of like who I'm following. If I see somebody randomly running in the distance, I'm like, okay, I'm watching it from so and so's camera, so that must be so and so. It kind of just made it easier to follow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just think Blair Witch was developed during a weird time in horror. Okay, yeah, so 2016, definitely a weird time. It was late in the found footage era. Then I think the game changed for horror after The Witch. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
So you're saying like, gotcha. Okay, I understand what you mean now. Yeah, so like, I definitely know what you mean. Like once like the A24 era kind of started to take off, like The Witch was definitely at the forefront of that. So like things just had a little bit more prestige to them. No, I definitely okay. So I know what you mean now. No, and I definitely agree too. I think that if we were to get a version of this now, it would definitely be better than it would have been at that time for sure. So we're coming up on 2 hours here, man. I have a little stack of movies here. I already showed you The Gallows. I showed you Paranormal Activity. Got VHS here. Quarantine is a cool one. Have you seen this movie?
No, but I've seen that, and she's actually in the thumbnail. I don't know if you caught that. She's actually on the thumbnail for this.
She's in the thumbnail?
Yeah, it's pretty bugging.
Fucking where, dude?
He snuck her in there.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh shit! Damn, dude, that's creepy as hell.
Right.
Is there any other sneaky stuff in here?
I don't think so, actually.
Damn, bro. All right, shit. I literally have the whole thing blown up on my second monitor right here.
Yeah.
Which when I do that,
she's just kind of like,
dude, that's crazy. Dude, this is a good movie. This is a remake of a Spanish film called Wreck.
Huh.
It's like almost a shot for shot remake. But it's really, really good. It's like set in an apartment building and there's like a zombie outbreak going on.
Oh no.
And like they're filming for like a news crew. It starts out as like this girl is with like they're like shadowing a fire department and like they're making the documentary on like what these firefighters do who are like stationed there for like days at a time. And then they go on a call to this apartment building and they're tagging along. And then they get stuck in the building and like the police are not letting anyone out, which is why they keep filming because they're documenting like this police entrapment conspiracy thing. Like it's very much like, yeah, you have to let us the fuck out of here. But basically, they're doing it because they have to keep this fucking quarantine going to keep the virus inside. So it follows all the rules as far as that's concerned. You know, with preserving the reason for filming. Quarantine is good. I think Wreck is probably a little bit better. It's essentially the same movie. It's just for people who can't read fucking subtitles or speak Spanish. So this was a good film. And then Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Dude, I forgot about that movie. I still have not fucking finished watching it.
I've been banging the drum for this movie forever. trying to get you to watch this.
We tried to watch it multiple times. Yeah.
It's essentially a mockumentary about like a slasher villain's like process. It's a camera crew following like a Michael Myers, and he's explaining all the shit that he does and how he does it, and it's very clever. It's very funny. Like the standout scene that I used to like sell this movie is like he goes through the process of like scaring this girl very gradually, like throughout the runtime of a conventional slasher film. Like she's like a barista and she's taking the trash out, and he's going into detail about how like he uses a brick to keep the door open, or she uses a brick to keep the door open when she goes out the back to throw the trash out. He's going to grab the brick while her back is turned, the door slams. He's doing all this little shit, like following her routine. It's so funny, and it's great. It's just so clever. I love this movie so much. I want to do like a deep dive on it this fall. I fucking love Leslie Vernon.
I'll have to actually watch that this fall. We tried to watch that literally like over 10 years ago.
I probably tried to show it to you, and you like fell asleep within 30 minutes, as you do.
I do that.
Leslie Vernon is really good. I'm not a big fan of found footage, but this one is different. That's all. That's the only endorsement I need right there, as well as Old Restless.
Dude, all right.
You can't get two better. You can't get two better cosigns than that.
So,
so I did want to just mention this one briefly. It's more of a mockumentary style. It's not like a found footage sort of, but it's in the ballpark. So
doesn't it flip too towards the?
Yeah, I wasn't going to tell you that because I wasn't sure if you remembered, but
yeah, no, I do remember. Yeah,
at a certain point in the movie, it stops being found footage and turns into a conventional slasher.
But it does it in a way where it feels like it works.
It's fucking awesome,
dude. I gotta watch
the timing of when they do it is perfect.
All right, fuck. All right, I'll watch it.
You have to see this film. It's a cult classic. It's beloved. It's incredible.
I'm excited.
It's also got some great cameos too, of like horror legends and stuff. But that's gonna do it for the found footage show, guys. Tyler and I are really glad to be back. It was a long summer, but we're back now. We're gonna do at least one of these a month, hopefully maybe two. We'll see. Cool. But yeah, Tyler, do you have anything to say to the people before we leave?
No, thank you everybody for sticking around and talking. Very cool. Always appreciate you guys pulling up. I don't know what we're gonna do next.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss Bunny.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll toss some ideas around.
Yeah, I guess we're like fully, but by then it'll be either late September, early October. So we'll be like fully kind of getting into fall.
Yeah, spooky season.
Feels good.
Thank you all so much for talking and giving us stuff to engage with. It really makes these shows. Thank you, Old Restless. You'll definitely be seeing us again soon. You won't have to wait 3 months again, I promise. That's gonna do it for us, guys. Please take care and remember to watch more movies. Good night, everybody.
Peace.